In this episode, we're going to go all the way to Sweden in Europe to talk to a colleague of ours, Rory, who is a phenomenal user of tools that would love for you to hear about. And he breaks them down pretty sweet for us. And I can't wait for you to be a part of that conversation. Before I jump into the conversation with Rory, though, I'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast. Leave us a review, give us a rating. Every time you do that, it actually helps our show, and it helps to bring others to our show as well, and also help us to provide the content that you'd love to hear about. So without further ado, folks, let's go and chat with Rory out of Sweden. Rory, it's so good to have you. Welcome to my show today.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here.
Awesome, and I understand that you're out in Sweden, and that's a beautiful space. I haven't been to Sweden yet, so I'm glad we have someone out there that we can give a call whenever we're ready to hop on over.
Well, I'm a phony Swede because I'm a Brit, so I'm a fake Swede, so I'm not super Swedish. I'm not well versed in all the Swedish ways. My language skills in Swedish are about the equivalent of a dog. In fact, a dog can probably understand more than me. So I'm not exactly.
Well, at least it's a lot much better than what I am. So That's great. But our listeners would love to get to know you. So why don't we get started and tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I originally started out as an actor, and when that didn't work out for me after honing my craft for 6 years, I was in some commercials, stuff like that. My face wasn't doing it for people anymore. I didn't have the sort of the early 2000s face wasn't working. So I decided to go into my second favorite thing, which was computers and anything to do with computers. So I started building websites back in the early days, early 2000s. So I like to think that I'm a digital native. I've been doing this a very long time, 20 years now. I've worked both client side and agency side. I've run an agency before, and I'm now running an agency again. So I'm pretty well versed in sort of everything to do with the marketing sphere, whether it's digital to print and ad. But my sort of my wheelhouse, or where I'm most comfortable, if you like, is anything to do with digital. I love digital, and I'm always looking for digital tools that can make me more efficient and faster, and getting rid of ones that don't. They do the opposite. They slow me down. So I'm a sort of a digital evangelist as well. I celebrate digital tech. I'm very nerdy with things like that. So I set up lots of if this then that recipes, and I have my smart devices. I'm not going to say the name in case they activate people's at home, but I have various smart devices that I can talk to that do things for me and help me out in my day. So very much a digital evangelist.
That's awesome. And we're evangelists here too, for sure. Always interested in what's working and put away those that aren't. So talk to me a little about the journey though. How did you get to this point? I mean, how did you get to making a decision that marketing is the sweet spot that you want to hang out for? You've been 20 years now.
Yeah, very long time. Yeah, I mean, pretty much after I left school, I knew how to code. So I put on a suit and went around to local businesses and said, hey, let me build a website for you. And this is back in the early 2000s. This was like, wow, a website. Not everybody had a website. So I sort of got my start there, and I became really fascinated with sort of the data and how people interact with websites and how you can bring them to your business, and sort of the side of psychometrics and analyzing behaviors, and really diving deep into sort of the fundamentals of marketing. So that really excited me and interested me in how you market to audiences, how you create a brand, because all a brand is nothing. It's just a name. You have to pour meaning into it. So is that whole process of creating a brand and then pouring meaning into it, I found really fascinating. And that started my career essentially. And I left my own agency that I started in my early 20s and moved sort of corporate side, if you like, and worked client side for a long time. And then I got fed up with working with agencies. So I thought, okay, let me start my own agency. And I've been doing that for the last 6 years. I run an agency called Runaway Collective, and it's an e-commerce and video focused agency. We primarily work with Shopify and incorporating video marketing and some other fun stuff like split A/B testing and ads and all that kind of fun stuff mixed in.
Fantastic. That's awesome. So we're going to be talking about a tool today, and I'm excited to hear, what's on your wheelhouse at the top that in terms of your stack that you want to share with us. So tell us about this tool.
Well, I'm going to mix it up because there's ones that I wanted to mention, but I think other people have spoken about them before. So I'm gonna throw a sort of a curveball at you,
Nice.
and it's a bit of a weird one. So I use an app called Runway ML. It's a machine learning app, and it absolutely blows my mind.
Mhm.
So as I said before, the agency I run is e-commerce and video. A lot of the stuff we do is video. I also have a YouTube channel, so I'm doing videos a lot. I'm in video a lot, making videos a lot. And what Runway and ML does is something that just it blows my mind. Normally, when you're in an editing program, you have to use your green screen, you have to color it, key it, and you have to cut around edges, and it's this real painful, boring, horrible process. And no app does it really well. But
Mhm.
Runway ML, it's basically like it's like for kids. It's so easy. You just point and click, and it deletes a background, and it's so smart. You hardly have to do any tweaking or changing. And so for green screen changing, it's absolutely amazing. But it also has this huge database called Labs, and you can teach it to do anything. It's machine learning, so anybody can do it. It's pretty much free. If you want to do more intensive stuff, there's different payment plans, but it's out of the box, it's pretty much free. So you can teach it to look for people in pictures. So if you have a load of archive images that you've uploaded and you want to search through those, you can train the machine learning to look for a specific person, to color correct images. So for instance, when I do a lot of video editing, we have loads of black and white photos. We can train it to colorize those photos. It's so cool. It saves a huge amount of time. Instead of individually going and color correcting individual photos, you can get 300 color corrected photos in a couple of hours. It's amazing. So I'm slightly obsessed with this app at the moment. I use it for everything, or as much as I can. I look for excuses to use it. It's awesome.
That's great. I mean, and it sounds like is that so? Runway sounds like the next editor, the next editor guy, video editor guy. Is that what Runway is
So
typically?
So they're looking to do that. They're looking to move more into that space and take over. They're not quite there yet. It's very early days. It's still in beta. But at the moment, it's just so promising. It blows my mind. I encourage anyone to just go check it out. It just loads up. It's inside your web browser. You don't need to download an app or anything like that. It's in the browser. You upload a clip. They have demo ones you can play with, and you just start clicking stuff and backgrounds start disappearing. It's like magic. It's almost like my first time I used Photoshop. It's like Photoshop for video. It's just
Mm.
super intuitive, but it's even easier than Photoshop because it's super simplified controls, and it's a huge time save. So we make a lot of client videos, and a lot of the time they want the background changed and they want to do stuff with it. So if they have a green screen, great, but if they don't, it's no problem. It can still erase the background without any green screen. So it's a huge time saver for me and my team.
No, that's awesome. I'm definitely needing to check that out. I've never heard of that one before, so that's pretty cool. And that's what we do on the show: introduce tools that folks can use to rule their growth. So I'm super excited to hear more about it. But I know you said you wanted to mix it up. So was there another one that you wanted to bake on top of that, or is we're gonna just play with Runway ML for
No,
the
no,
rest of our chat?
hey, we can mix it up. We can mix it up. So yeah, the other one I use is again, this is video centric. Now, and I do want to sort of put caveat there. Not everybody's using video, not everybody's doing video, but if you're not, you should be.
Yeah.
Video has huge conversions. People retain 97% of the information in a video compared with seeing an image or a text. It's 27%. So if you're not doing video right now, you have to. And you don't need to be a video pro or an expert. You can just whip out your phone and start talking. And that's so much more engaging a lot of the time than just your welcome copy on a website. So The other app that I use is called Frame.io. Again, not super sure if you've heard of this, but it's super easy to use. And what it is a video collaboration tool. So historically, when you have videos and you want the client to have a look at it, or you want other people to see it, you would have to send them the video clip, and then they would write their own timestamps manually and say, yeah, oh, can you change this bit at this point? Well, Frame.io lets you just start tagging on the video, and it automatically timestamps everything for you. You can share it with everybody, and it's all private, it's all hidden. It is a paid plan, but it just makes life so much easier. So when I combine something like Runway ML, the green screen, the masking, all that kind of stuff, and import it straight into Frame.io without even having to open up an app, and I can just send it straight to the client. It's all in the web browser. They can log in. They don't need to download an app, and we can start talking. We can have a live chat in Frame.io. It's amazing. It blows my mind how far we've come. You know, the old days, you used to have to send a hard drive out to the client, and they would have a look at it and then send it back or whatever. So it's a game changer for me. So those two together really make a massive difference.
This podcast is sponsored by MeisterTask, the most intuitive task manager on the web. MeisterTask is an easy-to-use project management tool, makes it easy and fun and colorful to get all your projects managed in one place. As an entrepreneur, I use MeisterTask to help me manage all of my projects. I can drag and drop different tasks. I can assign key people to the task. I can set deadlines and schedules and enjoy just beautiful colors while I do that. So if you are interested in trying MeisterTask, go to meistertask.com /DMT tools. That's meistertask.com /DMT tools. And you can sign up for a free trial when you upgrade to the pro plan. So get started for free today, and invite your team members and get productive together. Awesome. And you hit it just now, and just trying to understand, like, you know, how is it different from things that used to happen before, like the alternatives. Like if you're not using Runway or Frame.io, like what's the tool that you would use to get some of these things done? Because I can imagine that it's been just painful with this, you know, file sizes and and just handling with waiting for editors for 5-10 hours a week to get your stuff out. So how is it different from some of the alternatives that people use today?
It's a game changer, and so we encourage all our clients to use it. So we have many clients that they just pay us to do video. Now this might sound counterintuitive or downright stupid, but we encourage them to do it themselves. We encourage them to use the tools themselves and to see how to do it themselves, because it makes everybody's life easier. And if the client can see how to edit the video themselves and how it all works, and again, the controls are so simple. It's like being on your iPad, you know, you're just dragging things and moving things around. There's no big clunky menus or anything. It is light years away from what sort of a typical video editor is. And there really hasn't been a good alternative to Runway ML or Frame.io. There isn't any good alternative. Now, there's things like Vimeo. They have a service that allows you to comment and things like that, but it just doesn't integrate or work anywhere near as good as Frame.io. So the alternatives just at the moment don't work. There isn't a good alternative to either of these. The green screen one is a really big one. I had fun with my kids doing it. I gave them a little project. I gave them some teddy bears to make the teddy bears dance on a table, and then they would hide themselves so they couldn't see themselves with the green screen. It was amazing. They didn't have to use any clever technology. They just used their iPhones, and they were making visual effects that looked good enough to be in a sort of a film or a TV show. It's pretty amazing.
Awesome. And you alluded to the point earlier about not everybody's doing video, but everyone should. And most importantly, those who are very visual in terms of the business, whether it's the restaurant. I mean, I'm attracted to restaurants that I can see the food and I can kind of, get a taste of it even before I am there. So tell me a little bit about sort of who are some of these specific folks that you'd really recommend to dive into using these tools, that you think it would be significantly beneficial to.
I mean, pretty much any business, whatever you're doing, whether it's software as a service or you're a cleaning company, whatever it is, you should be getting in on video action. You should be doing something, and I don't mean just basic testimonials. I mean, interesting content that people want to hear about your business, interesting tools and tips. I mean, many brands are now hopping on things like TikTok and throwing away really good, interesting information on there, and props to them. But so many still aren't. So many are worried that they don't have the technology, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the skill set. And the way we are now, I mean, the latest iPhone has a cinema mode, and it's pretty much as good as my £5,000 camera. Only pros can really tell the difference. So the excuses just they really don't hold up anymore in terms of how easy it is to just jump into video. And it
Yeah.
pretty much works for everybody, whether you're doing testimonials or whether you're doing, unique content creation, whether you're doing walk around tours of your business, whether you're doing vlogs with your business. It's all interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And those are some really great things that you can actually do. And like you said, it's not just about for the testimonial, but find interesting topics, interesting things that you can talk about. Can these tools though be integrated with any other tools that are out there? Have you gotten that far?
Yeah, so Runway not so much. I mean it's just an import export thing in the web browser. They are working on something though. But Frame.io works with pretty much any video editor. You can pull it straight in. And it has like extensions, so it's inside the video editor whenever you're editing videos, and you can upload them straight up. You can also connect it to things like If This Then That. So if anybody's not familiar with that, it's just a trigger recipe motion where you can connect multiple apps together, very similar to Zapier. It's something that I use. So they both work relatively well with Zapier or If This Then That. So definitely get them talking to each other.
Nice, nice. And you mentioned that these tools are like they have paid versions, so you can get in and kind of try something out, and then you can pay for additional features, or how does that piece work?
Yeah, so Frame.io has very basic sort of staggered plans. So it's got like I think the entry level plan is $19, and then it goes up depending on how much you need, how much you want. So it's just whatever suits your business. And they're all sort of, you can cancel after 30 days. You don't need a long contract. Runway ML has a free plan. So you can export not HD footage, but SD footage. You can export and you get up to 2 minutes or 5 minutes completely free. So you can jump in and have a play as long or as much as you like. And then they have different pricing plans again. So I think it starts at $10 and goes up to 100. And then also for the machine learning, those little cool lab things, experiments that you can run, like colorizing photos, that works on like a credit-based system. So you can buy credits to use against those.
Nice, nice. Now I know that like staying in business for this many years is just not easy at all. And we would love to know how you've done it, and what do you think has been the best thing that has happened since?
Yeah, it's incredibly hard, and anybody that says it's easy is lying, or they're not being truthful with themselves. Running a business it's one of the hardest things you can do, and especially if you have imposter syndrome, like we all do, and you doubt yourself a lot. Especially if you're on your own a lot, you don't have a partner in business. It's really really hard. Um, it's gonna sound, pretty cheesy and corny, but that positive self-talk, believing that you can get the thing done is really useful, but it's not the be all and end all. It's being able to delegate, and not taking on too much and not trying to do everything yourself. I have that problem a lot because I can do a lot of things. I fall into the trap of trying to do everything and pleasing everybody. So I'm much better at now delegating tasks out to other members of the team. I can get them to do stuff, because it can be tempting for me to run the camera, then do the editing, then do the color correction, then jump onto Shopify and start doing some web development, and then start running some Facebook ads. These are all very different things, very different hats, and then I've got to look at the company accounts later on, and It's a lot of different things, and it's very silly to try and do all those things because you end up doing all of them badly. Um, so I try and minimize the amount of things that I do and delegate. So I would say positive mindset and learning how to delegate and learning how to ask for help.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd want to share with us today, though?
How do I get my hair so good? I don't know. No, no, I'm going gray. Don't ask. I have no answers. Don't listen to me. Um, no, no. I think you've asked me everything you could possibly ask me that people would find interesting.
Well, that's awesome. And well, I usually like to ask my guests about books they're reading because I love to read books, and I'm building
Yeah.
my own library, of course. So what are some of the books that you are reading or have read that really inspired, impacted you? And I also kind of want to check in on some other podcasts that you're listening to as well.
Well, do they have to be business related?
Absolutely
Um,
not. Absolutely not.
Okay, okay, good. Because my favorite book right now is The Hunter Gatherer's Guide to the 21st Century by Brett Weinstein and Heather Heying. That is absolutely fantastic. It's just very short, succinct chapters about human evolution, about why men behave the way they do, why women behave the way they do, why we say weird things, sort of just huge amounts of information in these sort of mini pocket chapters. So that's been a really fun read. I recently finished Jordan Peterson's 12 More Rules for Life. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I would highly recommend that. So those are two sort of books that I've really enjoyed. Automatic Habits is another one by James Clear. And
Mhm.
it's about sort of retraining yourself to cut out bad habits or negative habits and create positive habits. So there's sort of my three books that I've read recently that have really sort of been big game changers for me.
Awesome, awesome. I love that, and I think we'll obviously add those in the show notes for folks to get get a copy for themselves. I want to get those because it sounds very interesting. I've looked at the automatic habit before, so I think the other two is definitely a keeper. What about podcasts though? What do you listen to when you get a chance?
I'm a massive podcast nerd. I've got hundreds of podcasts. I'm obsessed with them, and I like to say to people, not so much anymore, but I liked podcasts before they were cool. I was listening to them, back in the day, in the sort of the early 2000s, 2006, 2007. So I've been a
Yeah.
big podcast fan for a long time. Some of my go-to ones are things like Modern Wisdom. I don't know if you know that, by Chris Williamson. And he has really interesting guests on. It's a very similar format to Joe Rogan Experience podcast. I like the Keto Camp podcast. So I'm really into a ketogenic diet, which I think is super interesting and fascinating. So high fat, medium protein, low carb. I think that's super interesting. Feel better, live more. You'll notice there's a theme here. It's lots of wellness stuff. I'm really into sort of mind and body and longevity. And as for business ones, I really like the Business Anchors, which is Dan and Lloyd Knowlton, who I know on LinkedIn. They're really cool guys, and they talk about everything to do with business and marketing. So there's some great ones that I'd really recommend checking out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I definitely need to check that out. It's a mindset thing. So I really love the direction you go with your podcast and just staying healthy, trying to live, as well as you possibly can. That's pretty awesome. We're always looking for creators and master users like yourself who have phenomenal knowledge about tools that you can use to grow your business. And would love to get a recommendation of someone that we can bring onto the show at a later time. Who do you think that might be that you think would be a good person to chat with?
So many people, so many people. Well, the guy from the podcast I just recommended, Dan Knowlton, he's a fountain of knowledge about all things marketing. He would be fantastic to have on the show. I think he's great to listen to. He does lots of talks and lots of events. He's a really interesting dude. I think you could get some good info out of him.
Nice, awesome, awesome. Well, we'll definitely love to get down on the show, so we're gonna reach out and see how we can get him on here. And was there anyone else? I know you say you've got lots and lots of them, but one is great, but do you have any other ones you want to throw at us?
I mean, I could throw you a list. Let me just open up my contact list. Let's see. Well, tell me what genre, what category, and we can get them. James McKibben. He's fantastic. He does talks about podcasting, and also things on film. He's got his own YouTube channel. Really interesting guy. Nick Rayburn. He's fantastic with video content, video tutorials. So plenty of people. I can send you a list.
Awesome.
I can send you a hit list.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to get that hit list, and we can connect and bring some of these folks in the show. This is absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate it. So, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us. I know it's late out there in Sweden right now, so appreciate the time that you've carved out to hang out with us today.
Pleasure.
All right. Well, we'll don't be a stranger, because we'll check in with you a couple of months from now, see what you're up to, and certainly love to have you back on the show at some time.
Good stuff. It's been fantastic talking to you and giving me a chance to chat some nonsense to your audience.
All right, awesome. I'm sure they'll make sense of it. You got it. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
That was a fantastic conversation with Rory, and I hope, folks, you got something from this. I mean, go ahead and dive right into Runway and runway.ml, as well as frame.io. I think those are powerful tools that you can jump in on right away and get to use. So I hope that conversation was really useful for you. Before we go, though, don't forget to subscribe to us. Give us a rating. We'd love to hear more about how you feel about the show that we're producing, and the tools that we're bringing on here. Are they helpful? Can you use them to grow your business? And so, until next time, folks, choose a tool to rule your growth. Talk soon.